sampurita pamita paramita balena vidvansiyo kila kilesa samola jalam teneva landa araham arahoti namam vandami buddha mamalam hadaye tapetva samanta cakkavalesu atra gaccantu devata saddhammang munirajassa sunantu sagga mokkadam Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Yoca buddhañ ca dhammañ ca sanghañ ca saranang gato Cattari ariya saccāni sammappanyāya passati Etañ ko saranang kemañ etañ saranamuttamam Etañ saranamāgamma sambha dukkha pamuncatu Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, here we are going to discuss one of the major doctrines in Buddhism, that Saddha. Saddha means confidence. That is a very important quality that we should develop from the beginning to end. You know, when we are going to a place that never we have gone, first of all, we should have a confidence about the map or address. Without this confidence, never we can reach the destination. Saddha also like that. Saddha means confidence, devotion about what Buddha said. And that is why we usually say, I go to the Buddha for refuge. It means we have a confidence about the Buddha's enlightenment. And also we say, I go to the Dhamma for refuge. We have a confidence about what Buddha said. And also, I go to the Sangha for refuge. It means we have a confidence about the noble disciples who practice this message and also who are practicing this message. That is very important. These three things are called as triple gems. Gems means valuable things. Gems bring us happiness. If we have a lot of gems, we are so happy. We have a confidence that I can do something. I can face any situation because I am rich, because of my gems. Actually, that gems also help us to live happily. But that material gems can be stolen, can be destroyed, can be gone away from us anytime. Sometimes it brings not only happiness, sometimes it brings us fear, lamentation. That is the nature of the physical material gems. But these three things, the triple gems, are not like that. It is a spiritual qualities, confidence that we can develop in our life. And also, they can be never stolen by anybody or anything. That is the nature of the triple gems. That is why we say that it is priceless gems. Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha are priceless gems. Because we can't give a value to them. And also, these triple gems help us not only for this life, it helps us for our entire samsaric journey. In this situation, when we think about these three things, our mind is so happy, we are so happy, because we have no defilements at that moment. When we think Buddha's enlightenment, when we think the qualities of the Dhamma, and also when we think the qualities of the noble disciples, then our mind is so pure and calm. At that moment, our mind has no space for other negative thoughts, such as greed, craving, anger, delusion. At that moment, those negative thoughts are not in our mind. No space for that negative emotions. That is why we have to develop these things. In one side, it is very useful to purify our mind. On the other side, the confidence in the triple gems encourages us to go on the path of liberation. That is why we should develop this confidence. At the very beginning, we develop the confidence in these triple gems, listening to qualities of the triple gems. When we think the Buddha's noble qualities, as we reflected on in our meditation, such indeed is the exalted one, worthy, Araham, Samma Sambuddho, supremely enlightened, Vidyacharana Sampanno, endowed with knowledge and conduct, and Sugato, well gone, and Lokavidu, knower of the world, Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati, incomparable trainer of persons to be tamed, Sattadeva Manussanam, supreme teacher of gods and men, Buddha, enlightened, Bhagava, exalted. When we think these qualities again and again, it is one of the ways that we can purify our mind. By contemplating on these qualities, we purify our mind. As much as we can purify our mind, it means we can develop our happiness. Whenever we are unhappy, it means defilements are in our mind. When defilements go away from our mind is so pure and calm. And also we are happy. As much as we develop this confidence in Buddha's enlightenment, it is very useful to understand the Dhamma. And at the very beginning, we develop our confidence, Saddha, in the Buddhahood, contemplating on Buddha's qualities. But when we go to the highest level, we understand Buddha through his message. That is why Buddha said, Yo Dhammam Passati Somam Passati. He who sees Dhamma sees me. On the other side, Buddha says, Yo Patisampadam Passati So Dhammam Passati. He who sees the dependent origination sees Dhamma. Yo Dhammam Passati Somam Passati. He who sees Dhamma sees me. That is very important. He who sees the dependent origination sees Dhamma. He who sees the dependent origination sees Dhamma. He who sees Dhamma sees me, Buddha. That is the highest way that we can understand who Buddha is. Now, in the primary level, we think we develop our confidence contemplating on Buddha's qualities. But when we go to the deeper levels, even though we don't see the Buddha's images, Buddha's physical body, we can develop our confidence throughout listening to what Buddha taught. That is very important. The second refuge is that Dhamma. The first one is the Buddha, and the second one is the Dhamma. What is the Dhamma that Buddha explained? Buddha explained that what happens to our life. What is the nature of the world? Buddha explained the reality as it is. Buddha explained very clearly whether a Buddha appears or not in the world, this reality is forever. We respect Buddha because he discovered this reality by himself, and also he preached this message to the world kindly. That is why we respect Buddha. But Buddha said, this message doesn't belong to even the Buddha. This message doesn't belong to Buddhists. This message belongs to he who is intelligent. And when we think the Buddha's message, there are some qualities. The Dhamma is well expounded, well explained. Swakhato, Sanditthiko. Sanditthiko means visible results. Akaliko, immediately effective. Ehipassiko, we can say anybody to come and see it. And also, we have to realize this message as an intelligent person. Pacchattam veditabbo vinyohi. As much as we are knowledgeable this message, we try to develop our confidence. Automatically the confidence increases. And the third one, the Sangha. Sangha means Buddha's noble disciple. Sometimes it may be Buddhist monks or nuns. Sometimes it may be lay people who have attained some kind of spiritual levels. And these three things are interrelated. How is that? When we have a confidence in Buddha's message, we have confidence in the teacher who explained this message. When we have a confidence in the Dhamma, we have a confidence in the persons who practice this message. Sometimes, first of all, some people met some Sanghas. Like, Sariputta, Reverend Sariputta met Reverend Assaji first time. When he saw Reverend Assaji, he understood this person is so pleasant. His senses are so pleasant. He may have some kind of qualities. Then Reverend Sariputta asked, Bhante, your senses are so pleasant. You have anything inside. Please explain what you practice. Reverend Sariputta met first time Reverend Assaji, then he asked what he practiced. Then, throughout listening Dhamma, when he met Assaji, he asked Dhamma what he practiced. When he listening to Dhamma, after his understanding, he asked, who is your teacher? Who explained this message? Then he went to Buddha, finding the spiritual teacher. Sometimes, some Brahmanas, some intelligent persons met the Buddha. when they met Buddha, they asked, Venerable Sir, what do you practice? What is your message? Then they asked, what is the message? Then after that, they found the persons who practice this message, Sangha. Sometimes, some people listen in Dhamma first time. As soon as they listen in Dhamma, they were inspired by the Dhamma. They wanted to know the person who realized this message. He went to Buddha. He found the Buddha. In this situation, these three things are interrelated. And especially, the most important thing is that understanding what Buddha explained. What is the main message that Buddha explained? Buddha explained the happiness and the way how we achieve happiness. In the same way, on the other side, Buddha explained suffering and the cessation of suffering. What is the suffering that we have? How suffering arises? If we have some experience that we receive through our senses, as soon as we remember something as our past experience, our mind immediately goes to past. And then not only going to the past, but our mind lives in the past experience. That is the fault. That is the cause of suffering. Memory is not the fault. Memory is a good quality that everybody should practice. But as soon as we remember something as our previous experience, past experience, if we don't have mindfulness, our mind suddenly goes to the past. Not only going to the past, but we think it is a true thing as it is. Then we are ignorant. Because of our delusion, because of our ignorance, our mind lives in the past experience with the same experience. When you remember your mom, automatically your mind goes to the past and you think the past experience. But those everything has is. Now you read only your mind. Because of no understanding, because of ignorance, we think still it is happening. That is why suffering arises. When you think your son, if your son had some mistake or some misbehavior when you left house, still you are thinking, still your son is doing the same thing. But now he may be meditating. You can be happy about your son, but because of our ignorance, we usually live in the past experience. That is why suffering arises. If we want to overcome suffering, Buddha explained, we have to practice only two. But they are mindfulness and wisdom. Mindfulness means we should try to train our mind to live in the present moment with awareness, mindfulness. We have lost the beauty of our life because of we have no ability to live in the present moment. If we want to see the beauty of our life, we have to practice mindfulness, living in the present moment. Beauty depends on how far we are able to live in the present moment. Not only living in the present moment, some psychiatrists, some educators, some psychologists, they recommend to practice mindfulness. How do they advise to practice mindfulness? They mostly say, forget your past, forget your future, live in the present moment. That is their advice, but Buddhism never says this. What is the Buddhist advice? What is the Buddha's advice? Buddha never says to forget your past or future. If you forget your past or future, it is a big mistake in your life. what should we do? We should practice mindfulness. It means as soon as if we remember something, we should have an ability to understand, now I am in the present, living in the present, I remember that incident, I read my mind. Then we can remember anything. We can focus the light to a place. We don't throw the light. Light is in our hand. Holding the light, we can focus everywhere. We are here. We should be like that. Keeping our attention in the present moment with mindfulness, we can think past or future. It doesn't matter. But because of mindfulness, our mind is not fixed in past or future. Our mind is here. Keeping our attention in the present moment, we can focus everywhere, past or future. But we are intelligent, we are mindful that I am in the present moment. Then we can remember anything without fear, anger or delusion. In this situation, Buddha said, we should not forget our past or future. We should develop our mindfulness, the awareness of mind and body. What happens to my mind at the moment? Then that mind is not permanent. That mind arises and ceases at the moment with the conditions. When you think something, when you think you are dead, at that moment your entire life is your dead. When you think your vehicle which is on the way, at that moment your entire life is your vehicle. When you think your house, at that moment your entire life is your house. This is the nature of our life. But at that moment, if our mind is fixed in outside, in a material thing, it means we are not away from suffering. We think that there is something outside. Buddhism doesn't say that there is nothing outside. There is something. But that outside thing is alive when we think it. Without thinking, they are not alive. When you think your son, at that moment your son is alive. If you don't think, at that moment in your world, you have no sons. We have only one intention, one emotions at once. Then all things are ceased. That present experience also is not permanent. That present experience also arises with the conditions. And also that experience doesn't belong to anything. When you think your son, at that moment that experience doesn't belong to your mind. That experience doesn't belong to your son. But without those reasons, conditions, you have no experience. But that experience doesn't belong to anything. For example, when we do this sound, because of this table, pen, and my ears and mind, the sound arises. But this sound doesn't belong to anything. This sound doesn't belong to this pen. This sound doesn't belong to this table. This sound doesn't belong to my mind or ear. Without these conditions, we have no sound. But this sound doesn't belong to anything. Our entire life is like that. We have only one experience through one sense at once. When you see something, at that moment, you have only that side. You have only that experience, only seen at that moment. At that moment, we have no sounds. one sense acts at once. The other 5 senses are not activated at that moment. But because of these 6 senses are so fast, we may think that these 6 senses work together. But at once only one sense acts. If we can develop this understanding day by day throughout listening to what Buddha taught, then our confidence in Buddha's enlightenment gradually increases. We have a great devotion in Buddha's enlightenment. And also we have a confidence about the Dhamma, what Buddha explained. And also we have a confidence in the disciples, noble disciples who practice this message and who are practicing this message. Then these three things are together, and also these 3 things are in our heart, in our mind. Wherever we are going with these 3 things. In every moment, we do everything keeping these 3 things in front of us. It means we know very well our real success, real happiness depends on confidence in these 3 triple gems. And day by day, we try to develop the understanding of the Dhamma, and gradually the confidence in the Buddha and Sangha increase. And also, when this confidence increases, not only just confidence that we have, gradually other 4 things increase. What they are? When we have Saddha, we don't stop in Saddha. We have virya, effort to go forward by practicing this Dhamma, because it is visible results immediately affect you. It is a very easy thing to practice and get the results. If you want to get a degree, you have to spend many years for your degree. If you want to build a house, you have to spend your time for a long time. But if you practice this Dhamma, you can see the results quickly. You can see the happiness in your life. And that is why we have a courage. We have an effort to go forward without delay. Because this life is very short. And also this is a very rare chance. If we miss this chance, we have no guarantee whenever we receive it back again. This is a very, very, very rare chance that we have received. As a human being and the Dhamma, it is very rare. We don't miss this valuable opportunity. That is why, with the confidence in the triple gems, our courage, our effort gradually increase. When we practice courage or effort, when we have courage, we try to focus our mind in the present moment. We try to develop mindfulness. Mindfulness is the best friend of ours. Although we have a lot of friends in the world, anytime they can go away. Anytime they have some mistakes. But our real friend is mindfulness. That is why Buddha said, whenever you are living in mindfulness, it means you are in the field of the Buddha. You are in the field of the Buddha. You are away from suffering. When you have Saddha or confidence, you have effort or courage. And when we have courage, we spend our time to practice mindfulness, awareness, by practicing meditation. Awareness of our mind and body. We don't give any chance to anybody to disturb our peace of mind. Even though entire world is destroyed, we don't fall down. We don't burn out. And we should try to make a very strong, spiritual, powerful mind whenever we can face. And that is why we practice mindfulness. And whenever we are away from mindfulness, it means we are in the field of the Mara's field. Then it means we are not away from suffering. We are in suffering. Whenever we think, whenever we are in mindfulness, as soon as we have experienced something through our senses, we know very well 5 aggregates arise inside. We don't run to outside. When some experience, if we have some experience through some external object, suffering or happiness doesn't come from outside. Suffering or happiness arises according to our mental conditions. Any external thing can bring us happiness or suffering. Suffering or happiness arises according to our mental conditions, mental formations. If we have full awareness or mindfulness and wisdom, then as soon as we experience something through our senses about the external object, we know very well the reason of suffering or happiness is inside. It doesn't mean that we don't think, we don't see, we don't hear something outside. We can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can eat anything with mindfulness. Then nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind because of mindfulness. When we have mindfulness, we don't stop with mindfulness. We go forward. Again and again we train our mind in the particular wholesome objects, such as practicing breathing meditation, practicing loving kindness, practicing the qualities of the Buddha, contemplating on Buddha's noble qualities. Any meditation technique that we practice as we are interested in. We can choose some meditation techniques. For example, I usually practice contemplating on death. In my life, I have practiced a lot Marananusati Bhavana, contemplating on death. Some people may think that it is negative thing. When we practice Marananusati, everything is unsuccessful. Actually, it is not true. If we can practice Marananusati or contemplating on death, we get the result of our life. We don't waste any second in our life. Every moment we do a meaningful thing. Then we can get the result of our life if we can practice Marananusati. Not only Marananusati, any meditation technique that you can practice. Anapanasati, Metta Bhavana, Buddhanusati. There are some meditation techniques we can practice in our day-to-day life. If we can usefully practice the meditation technique, it may be a friend of ours. Then, as a habit, we can use a meditation technique. Then, we are familiar with our meditation technique. We are always in that meditation. We are not away. It means we are in happiness. And however, when we train our mind to live in the present moment, concentration, samadhi gradually increases. Samadhi, we can keep our attention, mind for a long time with a particular wholesome object. It means we are happy for a long time. Then we can see the beauty of our life. Buddha said that if a person can keep his mind at least 10 minutes in a particular wholesome object as a concentration meditation, it is happier than living in the heaven. Actually, as much as we practice meditation, we can see the real happiness. Now, we are tired to find happiness from outside. We are tired. We are going here and there finding happiness. We want to make some friends. We want to buy something. We want to go far away when we are free. When we have holidays, we go far away finding happiness. Spending money and gas. But if you know the way how to achieve the real happiness, you don't go away from your house. Even you don't go away from your room. Your happiness in your room. And it doesn't mean that we should not go far away. We can go everywhere to see some new places. It doesn't matter. But in this current situation, actually, we can see everywhere through Google, through internet. Not only pictures, but we can see the videos, everything we can see at home. We are so lucky. And we don't have any experience that this spiritual experience. For that, we have to dedicate our time. We should not waste our time. And every moment, we should try to dedicate our time to get the results through practicing this message. Then we can see the beauty of our life. Then automatically good friends come to us. Spiritual friends come to us. And when we develop our mind, the same quality persons automatically come to us. We can associate good friends when we develop our spirituality. It is also one of the visible results when we practice Dhamma. And not only concentration, but we have other quality that with concentrated mind we reflect on impermanence. You know, there were some persons when Buddha was living in his time who practiced concentration, who could live for a long time with a particular object. There were some ascetic people who developed their mind to the maximum level with concentration. There were some persons who developed their concentration for 84 great eons. Mahakalpa 84,000. According to Buddhism, they were not successful. Why is that? They have stopped in this level. They didn't reach the final destination, wisdom. With concentrated mind, if we started our spiritual journey with right understanding, Sammaditthi, we don't stop in concentration, we go forward. That is why Buddha said, Samahito bhikkhave yatha bhutam pajanati. He who is concentrated his mind sees the reality in the world as it is. Three lakshana. Impermanence, anicca, suffering dukkha, egolessness, or anatta. With concentrated mind, we reflect on impermanence, suffering, and selflessness. It includes in wisdom. And how far we went throughout the confidence. Throughout the confidence of the triple gems, we go far away from here to here. When we have confidence in Buddha's enlightenment, when we are confident in the Dhamma, when we have confidence in the Sangha, noble disciples, we develop our courage, dedication, effort to go forward, finding results. We don't postpone it. You know, there are some people, when they have seminars, when they have to go to other state or other country, they never postpone it. But when they have religious activities, They postpone it. They don't give a priority to their spiritual development. But as intelligent persons, we should give the priority to develop our spirituality. That should be our highest goal. Giving the priority to practice Dhamma, we should do other all things. It doesn't mean that we should not do our duties, responsibilities. Actually, while we are doing the responsibilities and our duties in one side successfully, on the other side, we can practice Dhamma. While we are going on the way to shopping, we can contemplate on our mind. We can develop mindfulness. While we are driving, we are practicing loving kindness. While we are washing, while we are cleaning our house, we think Buddha's noble qualities. While you are cooking in the kitchen, you can develop your loving kindness. May my husband, may my daughter be well, happy and peaceful. While you are preparing your food in the kitchen, you can practice loving kindness. When you go to the temple, on the way to temple, you can contemplate on the qualities of the Sangha, noble disciples. While you are bringing dana to the temple, you can think about Sevana Sariputta, Moggallana, Mahakassapa. You can think their qualities. I am going to the place where those monks are living. Then, when you are coming to the temple, actually you are in meditation. Meditation or practicing Dhamma is like our breathing in and out. It is not away from our life. We do everything with mindfulness. If we do everything with mindfulness, it means we are not away from meditation. And, when we have confidence, then we have effort, and also we dedicate our time to practice mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness, our concentration gradually increases, and also with concentrated mind, we reflect on world reality, impermanence. Everything is impermanent. When you think something, at that moment, that experience arises and ceases. If we can develop impermanence, that is the highest unwholesome activity that we can practice. Buddha said, if you offer something to an animal, it is a great merit for 100 lives. 100 lives in the future. If you offer something to a human being, it is more beneficial. If you practice virtue or discipline or morality, it is more beneficial than practicing generosity. If you practice loving kindness at 1 second, it is more beneficial than practicing virtue or sila. Practicing impermanence 1 minute, 1 second is more beneficial than you practice loving kindness for several months. The highest, the great merit that we can practice it is contemplating on impermanence. At that moment, when we think something, if we have an ability to understand, now these 5 aggregates arise and immediately it ceases, then our mind is not fixed in outside. When you think your mom, when you think your some friend who studied with you in the college, if you have an ability to understand, now I read my mind, and also now these 5 aggregates, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, arise at the moment, then our mind is not fixed in outside. It is like when we go to the mirror, as soon as we see the reflection, we know very well the object is here. Like that. If we think something, at that moment, we should have an ability to understand at that moment my five aggregates have arisen. Not only arising, but immediately, without remaining anything, it ceases. If we have this intention, understanding, contemplation, at that moment, be sure you are away from sickness. You are away from aging, old age. At that moment, you are away from death. At that moment, you are away from rebirth. Even though you have a very dangerous disease in your body, if you think this reality, at that moment, mentally, you are healthy. And also that disease doesn't belong to you at that moment. Buddha explained us this message very kindly to overcome suffering. This is the highest way that we have to practice to overcome suffering. Even though we are very rich, even though we are well educated, we can't overcome suffering. Even though we have a lot of children who are well educated and rich, we can't overcome suffering. Even though we have a good complexion, very beautiful physical body, we can't overcome suffering. This understanding really helps us to overcome suffering. The knowledge of dependent origination. This is the advice of the knowledge of arising and ceasing of suffering. That is what Buddha said. He who has the knowledge, he who has the confidence in the triple gem, has the knowledge about the arising and ceasing of suffering. Yocha buddhancha dhammancha sanghancha saranangato. He who has the confidence in the triple gem has the knowledge, the process of suffering and cessation of suffering. Suffering arises because of unmindfulness and ignorance. When our mind goes to past or future without mindfulness, then our mind lives in the past or future. We have lost our happiness. And if we are clever to keep our full attention in the present moment with mindfulness, we can remember anything. We can talk with anybody. We can associate with anybody. Without suffering, without fear, without craving, without dependence. With pure mind, we can associate with anybody. We can go anywhere. We have a safety. We have a guard. And this is the real protection. These three triple gems help us to overcome not only this life, but it helps us to overcome all sufferings in our entire samsaric journey. If we have confidence in the triple gems, we always try to practice this message and get the results in this life. Because we know very well, this is the highest way that we can reach the real happiness. Even though we have a very good, beautiful friends, one day they go away. Even though we have good jobs, one day we will be retired. Even though we have good children, one day they go away. Even though our physical body is so beautiful, one day this is going to old age with a stick, without teeth. And this is the nature of our life. But if we have this understanding with mindfulness and wisdom, that understanding is forever, it is permanent. Then we live mentally, not physically. Now we live physically with material things. With this understanding, we live mentally, with the spirituality. At that moment, we don't feel our physical diseases, physical problems. We don't feel at that moment, because we completely live spirituality. We completely live with our spiritual power. In this situation, we have no space for negative emotions. When we see the impermanence, the nature of our experience arising and ceasing, then at that moment we have no any trouble, we have no any problem. It doesn't mean that we are lazy. We are away from our responsibilities. Actually, while we are fulfilling our duties and responsibilities, we can practice this message in our day-to-day life. When Buddha was living, there were some people, when they went to bring water to the wells, they were talking about the fourfold mindfulness with their friends. And there are some devotees who come here regularly, monthly and weekly. Actually, while they are going back home, they discuss the Dhamma, what they are listening to. If we can change our life like this, actually, we can see the results in this life. And also, we can see the beauty of our mind. Then we can beauty of everything. And for that, the devotion or confidence in the triple gem is very important. We give the priority to these three things. From the morning to night, we do everything thinking the Buddha, thinking the Dhamma, thinking the Sangha. Those three things are our friends. We are familiar with these three things. We always think the Buddha, then Buddha is in our heart. Buddha is alive in our mind. When we think the Dhamma, Dhamma is one of our physical body parts. Like our breathing in and out. If we can add mindfulness to our breathing, then Dhamma is alive. Then we like to be silent. Now we want a lot of friends who talk a lot. As much as we are knowledgeable, we are practicing this Dhamma, we like to live alone. That is how interesting. It doesn't mean that we hate others. Actually, we can associate with anybody. We have no problems. But we like to live alone. That is the interesting thing in our life when we practice Dhamma. Because we don't want appreciations from outside. Now we want to ask other people, may I good? May my food that I prepared is good, delicious? We want to ask again and again. May my face is beautiful, may my clothes is beautiful. We want to ask again and again. We want to ask some appreciations from outside because we have no inner peace. We have no inner satisfaction. That is why we want to get some appreciations from outside. But if we have real inner peace, we don't need get appreciations or glories from outside, because we have generated good emotions, happy emotions in our mind. And also, we don't find appreciations from outside. We are ready to give our happiness to others. We advise them to practice this Dhamma with us. We invite them to come and see this Dhamma. If we have good friends, if we have our close relatives, we invite them to please try to practice 5 minutes, 10 minutes, loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation. We invite them to practice and see the results if we are kind. That advice is very useful for their entire life. Not only like giving some food or clothes. It is more beneficial for their life. Have you any question? Mr. Pranandu asked a very good question. When we practice Buddhanussati Bhavana, we recited 9 qualities. Among them, there are some qualities like Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, Arahant, Samma Sambuddho. Again, finally we say Buddho Bhagava. First, Samma Sambuddha means that Buddha enlightened by himself without any instructions from outside. He discovered, realized and enlightened by himself. That is why we say Buddha Samma Sambuddha. Samma Sambuddha means he who attains enlightenment without any directions, instructions from outside is supremely enlightened. Samma Sambuddha. Buddha means not only he enlightened by himself, but he explained this message. He preached this message to the world kindly. That is why we say again Buddho Bhagava, enlightened. Again we say enlightened. That means he explained this message others too, for their understanding, for their enlightenment. That is the difference. Okay, any other question that you have? Okay. Please try to see the beauty of your life throughout practicing Dhamma. You are so lucky, you are so fortunate. That is why you have a chance to listen to this message. There are a lot of teenagers, young people are here, but they have no chance to listen to this message. Our previous merits have brought us here. If we didn't have enough merits, actually we are not here. Sometimes we are in a party. We are here because of our previous merits that we acquired very hardly. Don't forget it. Every moment think it. You are so fortunate. You have acquired, developed a lot of merits in your previous lives for this chance. That is why you are here. That is why you are receiving this message, the Buddha's message, understanding. Especially when we develop our mind, when we develop our understanding in Buddhism, especially the understanding of the dependent origination should be increased. That is very essential. Understanding of the Dhamma depends on how far we have understood the dependent origination, cause and effect, causality, arising and ceasing. Every moment our mind arises and ceases. When we think something, at that moment, that experience, completely new experience. It doesn't come to the present from the past. That experience doesn't go to future from the present. It arises and ceases at the moment. Immediately it arises. Immediately it ceases without remaining anything. But because of our ignorance, we have still that experience. That is why we have a link to go back. When you think your mom, when you think your home, if you think it is in outside, don't worry, you are ready to go back there. Even though you die here, your mind will be born there. As a physical body according to your mental conditions. But how we go away from this situation? When you think something, if you have an ability to understand, now these 5 aggregates arise at the moment when we experience these things. We can remember that incident, but we reflect on our mind. For example, when somebody rings the doorbell, we don't go to the bell. We go to the door. like that. When we remember something in past or future, we don't run to the past or future, we reflect on inside. My 5 aggregates arises at the moment. If you are unhappy, if you are happy, you think that the happiness or unhappiness arises inside, not in outside. If you have this understanding, we are away from happiness or unhappiness. We are in the middle. We are neutral. When we see this reality, we don't go to the extremes. We are in the middle. We are in neutral. Yes?
So when you say previous life merits, not necessarily dumb, is it? Because, I think I'm the only one here who comes from a country that is not Buddhist. So I don't know if I was born in a Buddhist country, previous life, but I'm here. Mm-hmm. So is it necessarily Dhamma merits or?
Actually, sometimes, even though you were in another religion, sometimes you might wish that while you are doing some good deeds, if I have a good chance to develop my mind, spirituality, that is good for me. By thinking that experience, by thinking that wishes in future, you might have done some good deeds, even though you were in other religion. It doesn't matter. Religion is not the special thing. It is like a cloth or like a board. The thing is what we practice mentally. Actually, surely all of us have practiced our mind. We have trained our mind, spirituality, in our previous lives. That is why we are here. Sometimes we were in a heaven. Sometimes we were in another country, another religion. It doesn't matter. The thing is how far we have developed our mind for the name of spirituality, for the name of getting rid of suffering. That is the main thing that we should have. Even though there are some people here, they are not Buddhist, but they practice some good deeds. And also sometimes they come to listening to this message. And sometimes they don't say that they are not Buddhist, but they practice Dhamma. The label is not important. The important thing is what we practice, what we train, what is our emotions, what are our emotions. That is the important thing. However, all of us have developed a lot of medicine. That is why we are here. Not only here that we have intelligence, good appearance, healthy life, everything we have received because of our previous medicine. Even though we can't see it, throughout this Dhamma, we should be happy. That happiness brings us forward. That happiness encourages us to go forward on this path. Among a lot of people who have a lot of problems, diseases, we are so lucky. There are some people who are struggling with some wars or some problems. There are some people who have struggling with some diseases, some economic problems, political problems. We are so lucky. We have received these facilities actually because of our wishes and merits that we acquired in our previous lives. Okay, any question? Okay, we have to dedicate our time to practice this Dhamma. Actually, that should be our main goal in our life. Then, if we like our mind, if we like our life, we should love our mind. If we want to achieve real happiness, we should develop, protect and take care of our mind. Mind is the chief, mind is the forerunner of all states in our life. If we can protect, develop our mind, If we can purify our mind, it means we develop our happiness. Especially by practicing Dhamma, we try to purify our mind from negative thoughts, such as attachment, craving or desire or lustful desire, and anger or ill will and delusion. These are the three unwholesome deeds that disturb our peace of mind. If we can protect our mind, we can overcome these negative thoughts. That is the real success in our life. If somebody can bring us anger, that is our skillfulness. If somebody can catch giving something to us, that is our skillfulness. If we are not ignorant, if we are wise, that is our proficiency, our skillfulness. Buddha always explain Sakko. Sakko means skillfulness. What is the skillfulness that we should practice? Making a strong mind. When we experience something, if our mind don't fall, if somebody can disturb our peace of mind, that is the skillfulness. For that, we have to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Concentration or discipline in our speech and behavior. Concentration, contemplating our mind and body, focusing our mind with concentration. And with concentrated mind, we have to practice impermanence again and again. This is the thing that we have to practice always. Then day by day, we should go forward with this experience, and then we can see the results of our life. Because we are on the path of real happiness. Okay, thank you for your good attention. By the power of all these merits, let's transfer these merits to our departed relatives too. And if any relative that we have who wishes to receive merits from us, may all of our departed relatives receive these merits, and may they enhance their spiritual energy, may they attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives too. Idamme ñātīnam hotu suketā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnam hotu suketā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnam hotu suketā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits, and may they enhance their divine energy, and may they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits, guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. May all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkhaṃ, bhayam pantā ca nibbhayam, sokam pantā ca nissokā, anto sambe pipānino. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.